Hello, everyone. This is the Faithful Life Podcast. I'm Matt Jacobson of FaithfulMan.com.
And I'm Lisa Jacobson of Club31Women.com. We're so glad you're here with us.
At Faithful Life, we explore what it means to be a biblical Christian in today's world, in our marriage, parenting, church, and culture.
It's real, raw, and relevant.
So let's get started. So we thought it might be fun to tell you our story. We thought some of you might be interested in how we met and decided to get married 6 days later, and how Lisa almost wrecked the whole thing.
It wasn't me, promise. You'll have to listen to the whole story and decide.
Well, that's true. We'll take a poll at the end and see who's right and who's wrong. So anyway, but you're right. So I was 18, looking around every street corner, in every building, in every room I walked into, at every meeting, at every church, at every gathering. Where's this woman? Because I want to get married. And where is she? I'm just looking for her. I'm searching for you. I wanted to get married at a young age. And God had other plans for me. And despite the fact that I desired to be married at that age, I didn't even meet you until I was 31.
And I was 26. I was also looking for someone, maybe not actively, but deep in my heart, I really wanted to get married. And I remember a family friend saying to me, Lisa, if you want to get married, then you probably have to date. And I had tried the dating scene. I found it very discouraging and frustrating. And so I'd kind of given up on dating and was hoping he would just arrive at my doorstep somewhere.
And I wasn't much of a dater either. Dated a little bit in college, not much. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to wait for this woman. And I know she's there. But I'll tell you, as the years went on, I became a little discouraged. And I thought, wow, maybe I'm not going to get married. And so when I was 31, working at a publishing company, my assistant walks into my room. And she says, hey, listen, I've got this friend, and would you ever be willing to go out with her? Her name's Lisa, and hey, here's a picture of her. And I looked at the picture, I said, yeah, I'd certainly be willing to go out with this gal. And so that was that. I just said yes, and she was, okay, great. And I didn't know that something was going to happen quick.
Yeah, little did he know, but she had actually written me a letter and said, okay, Lisa, we had worked together in a previous ministry, and she said, you have got to meet my boss. Believe me, he is tall, dark, and handsome, and a few other nice things. So I was, and this was all about the same time that I had come to the place where I thought, okay, I just need to be more open about meeting this guy.
So I'm thinking, okay, interesting. I'm going to have a date someday. Well, my assistant walks into my office a week later, and she said, hey, do you remember that girl that I told you about? And I said, yeah, what, Lisa? Yeah, Lisa. She said, well, guess what? She's standing right outside your office, and you can take her to lunch. And I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it. I just felt backed into a corner, and I just said, wait a second. She's outside my office? I thought she lived in LA. Well, she does live in LA, but she was coming up here for a wedding she's going to be in, and I just thought it'd be great if you guys could go to lunch today. And I said, well, guess what? We're not going to lunch today. She goes, oh, no, you've got to be kidding me.
He's really ornery like this.
Hey, come on, guys. I mean, how would you feel if you just got buttonholed like that? So,
yeah, just imagine how I felt, because how it had been presented to me was this guy was interested in me, interested in taking me out to lunch. So there I am. I show up to this publishing company. I'm standing in the lobby area, and waiting for this guy, and I'm not super nervous, but, a little bit anxious probably about meeting him.
So my assistant looks at me, she goes, well, what in the world? What am I going to tell her? I said, well, I don't know what you're going to tell her. I'm not going to lunch. She said, you're joking, right? I said, I'm not joking. I'm not going to lunch with her. And she goes, oh my goodness. I said, you could maybe take her, you can go out to lunch. Take her out to lunch. You guys have a good time. So she just walks out. And then she must have looked like the grave walking toward you.
Yeah, I still didn't know what was happening. I still thought there was just some sort of delay or something.
So anyway, I thought, well, she did say, would you at least come out and meet her? And I said, well, sure, I'll come out and say hello.
Okay, ladies, he comes out to meet me.
Just a minute. I came out, and I was very cordial.
Oh, he was so rude.
I wasn't rude.
So rude.
It just felt rude.
Like he comes up, he shakes my hand.
Yeah, right. That's polite.
Okay.
Did you want me to kiss you right there on the spot?
Maybe.
Okay.
And then he kind of says a few little nice things, like "nice to meet you," and then he points to his watch.
I don't remember the pointing.
He points to your watch, and he goes, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm really busy. I gotta go," and just leaves me standing in the lobby.
Well, of course, I didn't
I
know that.
hated him right then and
I
there.
didn't know that you were told that I was planning on taking you to lunch.
Oh,
Anyway, so I did walk away. I just go, hey, hi, nice to meet you. So sorry, kind of busy, tough day today. But I walked away, and I admit I'm walking away, and I'm thinking, you probably did that a little too fast.
and
But
you
I
know,
couldn't turn around then. It's too late.
and Lace, you know that feeling of just being someone just rejecting you and shaming you. There's a shame in like I just felt my blood just well.
It's I
You
admit
stood
it was
me
an
up
embarrassing
right
moment,
then and there before you even had a
but I
chance to
didn't
meet
really,
me.
not in my heart. So anyway, all right. So that was that.
Well,
No,
I went
not
to
quite.
lunch with your
Oh,
sister
that's right. The president and
and the
vice president of
assistant.
my fan club.
And they
That's right.
sat there the whole lunchtime and were telling me how amazing Matt Jacobson was, and on and on
Ouch.
and on. And they were trying to, I think, make up for his incredible rudeness a few minutes
No.
earlier. But that intention backfired because the more they talked, the less I could tolerate him, let alone
So
like him.
anyway, so I think you went home after lunch. You went to see your friend and told. What'd you tell her?
Yeah, my best friend, she was so excited that I finally had a date, or at least a potential date. And I was in her wedding too. I was always the bridesmaid, never the
How many
bride.
weddings by this point? You were up for your
12.
12th wedding,
12.
right?
I had been a bridesmaid
So
12 times. So
okay.
as a professional. Anyway, so yeah, she said, well, how'd it go? And I just said, are you kidding me? If he was the last man on earth, I wouldn't go out with that guy.
Which that's an overreaction, but anyway.
Mm.
So all right, so it's just life back to normal,
Yep.
doing the publishing stuff,
I went
and
back down to LA. You stayed in Portland.
and I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I'm going. I'd like to meet somebody, and then I got to thinking about that gal that was in my office, that Lisa gal. So I walked by my assistant's desk and I said, "Hey, Linda, if your friend Lisa's ever in town, I definitely would like to go out with her if she was in town sometime." So in the meantime, Linda,
Yeah, she had repented,
right?
really, and then realized she was doing some matchmaking, which she was right in her heart, but had kind of gone around it the wrong way. And so she decided just to pray us together, which this is a good testimony to prayer because literally that's the only thing that changed in that time period was her prayers affecting our hearts.
hmm
For me, as the months went on, God just slowly was using a bunch of different things to convict me that I had a certain script laid out for how this all was going to go down. And he just impressed upon me the need to hold my hand more openly and not decide what it was that, how it was going to look like and how it was going to go. And that I would not be so quick to judge and so quick to determine it was or wasn't him.
So 8 months went by. I'm just kind of doing normal life. Didn't have a single date the entire time, but there's a part of this story on your side that I think is really cool, actually.
So it was New Year's Day and everybody was making New Year's resolution. And I didn't have a New Year's resolution, but I had been praying that God would bring a husband and that he would just show me his plans for me. And I felt that him saying that this was the year I was going to get married. And in faith, I went out and I picked out my wedding dress, which everybody thought I was out of my mind.
So, all right. So
No guy in the picture.
no guy in the picture, but you went shopping
Yep.
and picked out your wedding dress
Yep.
because you plan on getting married or at
I
least
in
ask God
faith.
for it,
In faith.
which is awesome. So, and so that's God kind of working for me on my end because
That's right. That's for
getting me
sure.
ready to get married. So anyway, so yeah, I said if she's up, well, it turns out she was coming back that week,
This was 8 months later
8 months later, but she was coming back to Portland
to be a bridesmaid.
to be a bridesmaid 13 times. So it worked out great. So she came and I thought, you know what, I better call. We'd need to clear the air from what happened last time. So I gave you a call and I just said, look, challenging circumstances, some of it out of our, purview. Can we just start over? Can we just pretend like none of that ever happened? We're just going to start over. We're going to meet for the first time.
Yeah, which I really appreciated. Appreciated that he was direct with me, but I also appreciated that he also was saying, let's just start again. Let's try that again.
And I was the type of guy that to look at me, you wouldn't think I had any insecurities.
Mhm.
I just
No, I
kind
never
of
would have
had
guessed
that, I suppose, presence. But inside, I was definitely totally insecure and wondering how this was going to come down. But I think I kept that well masked during.
I think as a woman, I never would have guessed that a guy could be insecure. I just was so aware of my own insecurities and anxieties that it just never occurred to me that there could be some on the other side of that.
So she came up to Portland. We had a dinner party at Linda and her husband's house.
Yeah.
and we were playing cards with, I think my sister and brother-in-law were there too. And so it was kind of a guys against girls card game.
Yeah.
And halfway through the card game, I kind of realized, I think it had a glass table. So if you're going to play cards with somebody who's a little shady,
Okay, it's one of those like highly competitive,
make
fast,
sure it
like
has a glass
guys
table.
against girls kind of game. So it was just for fun.
Just for fun. But I realized, you know what? I don't think she's playing by the rules. So I figured, hey, two can play that game. So I started, if I suppose you should use the C word, cheating. But you
Yes.
started it. So
Yes.
anyway, I started out cheating her. And by the end of the game,
I was getting creative.
yeah, you were getting cremated. By the
Created.
slaughtered. By the end of the game, the guys just totally creamed the girls. And Lisa's sitting there thinking, how did that happen? I was cheating.
It's so true.
So
Oh.
anyway, we had a good old laugh about that. But and then
But I think what really, I mean, that was fun. I loved having fun with you. So that was definitely opened my eyes. But I think the part that really right away drew me to you is how you came in and you sat down on the couch next to me and just asked me so many questions about myself. You were interested in me and how I think and what I do. And that was not a typical experience for me. So I loved that. I loved how interested you were in me as a person, the first thing.
mhm. Well, you're so interesting. How can I help myself?
So I knew that night, actually, just in my heart. I thought, oh, this is the man I'm going to marry.
So we were in the parking lot, and I remember this, and like I said, I was a little insecure and unsure. And is this really God's plan? Are we ready to go forward? I wasn't sure, and I could just see the light of stars in your eyes. Not that you had stars in your eyes, but I just mean the sparkle of a star in your eyes, and I knew in my heart that you. I suppose love it's too early to say love me,
No, I don't think I was
but
in
you
love with you
definitely
yet.
had
In
that sparkle. And so I
Definitely
walked away
interested.
from there just going, okay, is this the woman? And I just replayed the evening in my head. I think you went home and had something to say to Terry.
I told
again.
Terry, the same best friend that I had said if he was last man on earth. And I said, okay, well, I met the guy I'm going to marry.
Just shows you how fickle women can be. I mean, really.
True.
So-
It's true.
And Terry's going, okay, what happened? But anyway, so that was that. So then we went out on a date and we just talked, and that's what happens when you meet somebody that you feel you can just share your soul with. You can just talk and talk. And so that's what we did, and that was an awesome date. And then a couple of nights later, we went out again,
At the Timberline.
and I had big plans. So I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to make the move here. So, and remember, this is all happening in the context of being kind of insecure. So I was thinking, okay, it's got to be a great spot. So I don't know if you've ever been up to the Timberline Lodge. In fact, we'll put a link, I think, on the website below the video. You could see Timberline Lodge. It's a very cool spot. And so that's where I made reservations for dinner. And I thought, I need to get a nice, expensive gift. So I went to this perfume. It's called the Perfume House, I think, in Portland. And talk about dropping some serious coin. That is a way to spend money if you buy some expensive perfume. I had no idea. So anyway, I got this perfume that I thought you would like. And so we went up there.
Just for context, too, the reason, if it feels like things are going pretty fast, maybe they are, but we were older, but also we only had 1 week that I was up in the Portland area, and then I was heading back to LA. So we had a limited amount of time to get to know each other.
Yeah. So anyway, we get up to Timberline Lodge, and they're going to try to seat me over in some obscure little dark corner with a draft by the window or something. But there's this huge stone fireplace in the middle, this big roaring fire, and a big cleared area right in front of it. And so Elisa had no idea what I was doing, but I just told the host, I said, hey, you know what, that's really not going to work for us. And he goes, what in the world I'm seating you? But I just said, yeah, this might work a little better. So I just grabbed the table and I pulled it across the restaurant into the middle of the room. And I think you were just about ready to die at that point. But anyway.
Yes, I was dying.
But it was really great. So here we are. We've got this table for two in front of the fireplace at Timberline Lodge. And I'm telling you, I am pouring out my soul all evening long. All right. That's what I think I'm doing. I'm telling you what a great time I'm having. And we're talking about all of this. And it's all wonderful. And it's all
Okay, you were talking
amazing.
about everything except for future. Like you didn't say anything about going forward. It was just kind of about, so my impression of the evening and you was that you were just having a good time. And that was the context.
Is anybody getting the sense that this is kind of an impatient woman? I mean, we are talking about, what, day 3? maybe 4. Anyway, so, so
Like I said, I never wanted to waste time dating.
yeah,
So
well, I thought I was going at a breakneck pace. But anyway, so we're driving back, and I tell myself as we're driving down the mountain, because Timberline Lodge is literally on Mount Hood. It's way up. It's past the Timberline.
yeah.
And it's really spectacular. But we're driving down. It's an amazing night. And I've given her the perfume, and I'm telling myself, okay, you've got to kiss this woman. You have got to step up and let her know. So I thought, okay, before this night's over, I'm going to kiss her. So we got back to your folks' place, which is where you were staying when you were up from LA. And I think we met some of the people. There were some family friends staying at the house,
Yeah.
and a little chit chat there. And then it was time for me to go. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to kiss her. So she walks out to the car with me, and we meet right in front of the car, and I'm standing right there. And I'm telling you, I mean, in today's world, you're going, what, kiss her? Are you kidding me? That didn't happen already. But for me, that was a big deal. And I was kind of nervous about the whole thing, and I wasn't sure how she'd take it. But just as I was kind of leaning in, making the big move, somehow,
Oh yeah, well, my family and the friends all thought it'd be really funny to lean out every window, door, opening to just make a bunch of faces and loud noises, and it was kind of a big joke.
they had screens on the windows, but nevertheless, they managed to get my attention. I can tell you that. So I just was out of there. I was dying already, and then they all came out, and I'm just going, oh my word, I am out of here. So I just kind of swirled around and headed for the door of the car, and I said, hey, see you later. Hey, look, I'll be looking for you for lunch tomorrow, and that's that. And I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Well, I definitely understood that he couldn't get away from me fast enough. So I went in the house, went up to my room, and I just cried and cried. All my hopes and dreams just ran down my face in sorrow that he couldn't get away from me fast enough, and I was thinking marriage.
Well, and I drove back to my apartment going, this is awesome. This is so great. And we're going to have lunch tomorrow, and I'll kiss her then. And it's just going to be fantastic. So I go to work the next morning, and we had agreed to meet at 11:30. So I'm just drumming my fingers on the table. I'm looking at the clock. I'm so ready for this woman to walk through my office door. But it wasn't Lisa that came through the door. It was my assistant. And she's got this ashen look on her face, and she goes, and I said, hey, where's Lisa? Because, it's almost 11:30. And she goes, yeah, well, Lisa's not coming.
Yeah, I'd called her up and said, you can just let Matt know I'm not going to be having that lunch today. And
I'm good. I said, Linda, just a minute, because you said something that is 100% wrong. You said Lisa isn't coming. But see, I need to explain to you, Lisa is coming. And she says, no. I said, oh, yes, she is coming, because, see, the thing is, Lisa and I are going to have lunch today. And so she said she's not coming. I said, well, that doesn't matter. You have to get on the phone, and you have to convince her that she's going to come to lunch with me today. And she said, well, how am I supposed to do that? And I said, how well do you like your job?
I can't believe you did that to her.
Now, it just so happens that I love Linda and Linda loves me. We're good friends.
Yes.
So she knows I'm not really saying I'm going to fire you. But I did say that. I said, if you like your job, you are going to turn around, walk out this door, pick up the phone, and get Lisa down here for lunch, because we are going to lunch. So
she called me up and just gave me a big guilt trip on how you had taken this time off work.
Absolutely,
And
Mr. Important.
she appealed to my sense of obligation that I needed to fulfill that. And so I was going to fulfill my commitment and then never talk to you again was the plan.
Well, so she tells me, okay, she's coming. I said, well, of course she's coming, And so anyway, have you guys ever had, by the way, I grew up in Canada. I grew up in BC, and we have serious winter there. So if you leave that door open and the Arctic blast comes through the door, it drops the temperature in the room just like that. So if you know that experience, then you'll understand what happened next, because I'm sitting in my office, and all of a sudden, before Lisa walks in, this cold air blows into my office and drops the temperature. She walks in, and I'm going, oh my word, what happened to her? She's so cold, and we'd had such a great time the night before. So I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm trying to have a conversation, and
I'm just protecting my heart,
oh
and
my word.
I'm
And
just going
now
to go
who's
through
rude?
with this.
Now who's rude?
No, it's different when you're protecting your heart.
So anyway, I am dying on the vine here, and every single question I ask, it just ends with a single syllable answer, So no, yes, well, maybe. And then I just said, well, hey, are you
See,
hungry?
that's
Let's go.
polite.
Are you hungry? Let's go for lunch. And she goes, well, I'm not really that hungry, but I suppose we can go. And I go, oh my. So we get in the car, and I'm struggling the whole time. I'm just working it like a big dog, trying to get this conversation off the ground. So about halfway through the meal, I realized this is not happening. It's time for drastic measures. So I looked at her and I said, do you like hiking? She goes, well, sure, of course. Hiking's great. I said, good. Let's go for a hike. And she goes, what? You can just leave your job and go for a hike in the middle of the day? And I said, yeah, let's go. I didn't care about my job. I'm going to land this woman. So anyway.
This is our last day because I'm flying out the
Last day,
next
she's leaving. She's leaving. This one's slipping through my fingers. So I concoct this plan. We'll go for a hike. But we've got to stop at my apartment. I got to get my suit off and put some hiking stuff on. So I'm in the bedroom. She's out in my living room. And in the bedroom, as I'm getting ready to go hiking, I'm just telling myself, okay, you have got to tell her right now how you feel. You've got to lay it on the line, make it happen. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do it, man. Time to man up. So I walk out. And I said, hey, I know we're going to stop by your folks' place so you can get some of your clothes. But before we go, could we just sit down for a quick second? There's just something that I'd really like to tell you. So we sit on the couch. And now my heart's about ready to bust out of my chest because this is the critical moment. And I'm going to tell her what I think and how I feel. So I look into her eyes, just pause for a minute.
Yeah.
And I said, I just want you to know these past 4 days have been the greatest days of my life. I have enjoyed my time with you so much. I'm just super sad to see you go back to LA tomorrow. I've really enjoyed my time with you. And she just looks back at me with those big sparkly eyes and she says, well, I'd be more comfortable talking about your books.
Oh, I didn't say it like
She
that,
said
though. I did.
That is a verbatim quote.
Okay, those might have been the
Forever
words I
etched
said.
into my heart with a hot branding iron.
It was not the tone I
Okay?
used.
So
And what was going on in my head, which now I confess that I
confession.
have
This requires confession.
some
for sure.
regret. I had been admiring his book collection. I love books, and so does he. And so when he confessed his interest in me,
My undying love. When I put my heart in a hot pan and it was sizzling in front of you.
I was a little embarrassed because we had gone from not really talking about such things
To an amazing date the night before where
to
I told I
suddenly
just had
talking
such a
about
great time with a
these
beautiful
things.
woman and all of that.
And so even though those might have been the words I said, I didn't say it in that tone. And in my heart, I was just thinking, oh, it is going to all work out. He loves me.
Yeah, you know the little adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's a total lie. Words will beat your heart to shreds.
So I was really, really happy about this moment.
my
Like
word.
really happy.
And I am turning on a dime. I am so out of there. My heart just slammed shut. I'm going, get me away from this woman. But now we've got the problem of I've got her in my car.
Yeah.
And we've got this hike idea. And now we're going up to her folks' place. Not one, it's about maybe a 15-minute drive up there. Not one syllable passed between us the entire trip. I never said one thing. The only thing I'm doing is sitting there figuring out, how can I get away from her? I'm not going on this hike. This isn't happening. She's not interested in me. She'd rather talk about my books. Guys, is that are you kidding me? You tell a woman that you love her in so many words,
I could have
and
done
she says,
better.
"Well, I'd be more comfortable talking about your books." Okay, I think the guys and the girls are voting with me on this one.
All right, we'll do a poll later. So the whole time, what I was thinking in this beautiful silence was,
dying on the vine.
he loves me. You don't really need to say much once you have that established. It's just the future to look forward to. So we just sat there in that comfortable silence you have when you just have two people just understanding one another.
Yeah, exactly. So we got to your place, and I am going, all right, I'm going to end it now. And so we met in front of the car. We got out, met in the front. I said, hey, Lisa, look, the last few days have been great, but this is moving awfully fast. And I just think it would be better. She goes, okay, bye, I'll go get my stuff. I'm not kidding. I was mid-sentence, and she walks away from me and runs into the house. And I'm going, hey, wait a minute. I'm trying to tell you this isn't
Oh, I
happening.
just figured he's having a little moment of cold feet, and we just didn't need to
Oh.
bother with all of that. We're just going to keep going forward. Now we finally got on the same page, I think.
So she comes back out. She's got her, boots and hike and stuff. And I am going, how is this happening? She goes, oh, come on. Let's just go for the hike. Come on. So now I'm in the car and we're driving up the hill, up Mount Hood. And I'm going, how can I stop this? This is a disaster. How is this happening? So remember the old adage, hurting people hurt people? Well, guess what? It's true. So I'm protecting my heart, which she has so casually cast, aside. And I'm going, all right. And I got a little sarcastic on her. So remember that word comfortable? She said I'd be more comfortable talking about her. So we're driving along. I turned every sentence into a discussion about being comfortable or a comment about being comfortable. So we're driving along and I said, well, I'm trying to drive the speed limit. I hope you're comfortable with that. And she goes, what in the world is he talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing. None. I don't even remember what I had said. So it didn't
And then
even
I
make
said,
sense
well,
to me.
isn't that a sweet little farmhouse over there? Of course, you probably wouldn't be comfortable living in it, And then I said, well, I was thinking of adjusting the temperature in the car here, but I'm not sure if you'd be comfortable with that. So literally the entire way up there, I am doing this.
So by the end of this drive, I'm just thinking, this guy's got like serious
He's a
problems,
jerk. This
like
guy's a
serious problems. 1 minute he's just basically getting to the point of confessing his love for me, and then within 30 minutes he's
how did that happen?
got issues,
So
serious
anyway.
issues.
So she has no interest in me. She's, and we're stuck in this car and we're going this high. So the next thing I know, we're walking up this forest trail. Neither of us now know why this is even happening. Why are we even here?
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I just want to get out of there.
Yeah, well, me too. So we get up, we walk up this forest trail, and we come into this clearing. And, it's one of those clearing with some beautiful green grass growing up. It had been logged years and years ago, so some old stumps and some lupin blooming.
Yeah, it
and
was spectacular.
just an idyllic little setting. And then 8 deer come bounding through the clearing not far from us. And we're all just we're just looking at that. And somehow it was a moment.
Yeah.
And okay, this next part, I don't know how she orchestrated it because it was very deftly done. But
yeah.
So somehow
Said the guy.
the next minute, we were standing just face to face, so close. And I'm not saying our noses were touching, but we were really close.
Yeah.
And it just happened. I don't know how it happened. Boy, anyway. So we're standing there and I'm looking right deep into her eyes. She's looking back at me. And then I said, without a word or note of sarcasm, I said, I know what I'd like to do now, but in all honesty, I have no idea whether you'd be comfortable with it or not. And then she said,
it's your move.
So that was my cue to move. And so I'm thinking, we're kissing now. And so I leaned in to kiss her. And so some of you may or may not know about Lisa, we have these prominent
Can't
front
say
teeth.
that on the air.
And so I leaned in and our teeth just clunked together. So it was going to be a romantic moment with the deer and everything.
It was like a movie moment right up until that
right up there. And then the Hallmark said, cut,
He definitely said cut.
So our teeth clunked together when I went to kiss her. And we burst out laughing. It was so
the
funny.
worst kiss in history.
It was definitely the worst kiss. But we've made up for it since then because we've actually embarked on a regimen of practice and commitment.
That's right.
To the
we're much
endeavor.
better
So
now.
we're actually pretty decent kissers now. But anyway, so that's that. And I said, okay, so you know what this means, don't you?
No.
And of course, we both knew it meant we're getting married.
Yeah.
And she said yes. And so I took her hand and we walked down the mountain holding hands. We've been holding hands ever since.
Yep. 26 years later.
We've been married for a little over 26 years. We have 8 kids from the ages now of 12 to 25 almost.
Yeah.
And 4 of them have moved out of the house and are working toward their careers and building those. And so that's been our story. But we have enjoyed a really wonderful marriage, but it isn't because we won the marriage lottery and we
Mhm.
got lucky. And a lot of people think that.
Yeah.
They think that if you just find the right person and get lucky, you can have a great marriage. But this is not true. This is an absolute falsehood.
Like even if the story of how we met, there were so many possibilities and actualities of us misunderstanding one another or miscommunicating or being unkind at certain points, and hurting and not being able to communicate expectations, all those things just condensed in that one short week, which are all things that you get to deal with in a relationship and work through and keep going back at it and keep sharing your heart. And those are a lot of those things that we're going to be sharing in future episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody falls into a hole backwards and has a great marriage.
That's right.
You have a great marriage because you built a great marriage. And what we want to talk about in the marriage segment when we're discussing marriage is we want to talk about God's idea, God's plan, his purpose for the excellent marriage that he has planned for you. And the blessings of obedience are enjoyed by those who read the word and do what God says. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. And the fact is that wherever your marriage is, maybe you're not married. Maybe you have a challenging circumstance. You've been married for a short period of time. Many people who've been married for a long period of time have a challenging marriage, and others have a fantastic marriage. So everywhere you are on the spectrum, we're going to be talking about God's plan, purpose, and blessings that you can enjoy in marriage. And so we really look forward to exploring that with you in future episodes. Thanks for joining us today. We've had fun telling the story.